I built Tron City in Fortnite. As you may know by now, the Tron skins just came out in Fortnite, and I'm a huge fan of the Tron movies. I love the 80s version, and I love Tron Legacy. I've been thinking about building a Tron map in Fortnite for a long time, and this week with the release of the skins, I figured now is the best time to do it. I decided to build the image that appears in the Fortnite portal, which is an image of the main city in Tron Legacy. I gave myself a 2-hour limit to do this, and this is how it went. The very first step to this build was going into the monster prefab and grabbing the dark sword, which I was really excited to use because I've almost never used this piece in any build, and it was just perfect for this map. After I got the sword lined up in the middle of the map, it was time to move on to setting up the clouds. Now, as you guys saw in my Cloud City build earlier this week, clouds can really make a huge difference in your map, and there's only one place you can get these in the meteor galleries. I actually used 2 of the different meteor particles in this one. I used the ones without the lightning for the main cover over the top, and then I placed just a few to add some lightning right around where the sword was poking into the clouds. And I just love the effect that it had. Now, before I actually placed down the lightning clouds, I messed around with the lighting, which was the key to this entire build. I feel like these settings get overlooked often, so I took a lot of time to really get the right settings for this. So I ended up placing the sun at 2 p.m. at 50% brightness. I also changed the color of the light to blue, and then the fog percentage to 10%, and the fog color to white. I ended up getting this blue hue with the white on the bottom, which was just perfect for what I wanted. Okay, there, that looks pretty dang cool. Now we gotta actually build the map. The main gallery that I used for this entire build was the Robot Factory Gallery. It just had these really nice big pieces that I could blow up, which would help minimize how many pieces I was using throughout the entire build. For example, the base of the sword right here is only 3 of these pieces blown up. I also used this blue glowing cube for behind the sword. I also used the beacon from the beacon gallery to place just below the sword, so it had that nice cool effect of the beam going up towards the sky. And then of course I used the ring gallery for all of the glowing accents throughout the map. Now, speaking of these accents, they were probably the hardest thing to place in the map, especially placing them on this sword. Now, if this sword were a nice flat surface, it would probably be a lot easier. But because the sword has so many curves, it really made placing the accents throughout it very difficult. Now, I didn't get too crazy with the accents on the sword. I really just followed the lines of the sword itself. I didn't need to build from scratch here, so it was really nice just to be able to follow the lines and not get too crazy. I did build out the X in the middle, which really I only had to build one side of it, and then I could copy and paste it to the other side of the circle. And then of course this middle circle is just one ring that I did the circle trick on, just copying and pasting. In the end, the whole sword ended up looking pretty dang good. It was just the way I wanted it. Oh, that looks awesome. The next step was to build the buildings that stand next to the sword, and this was pretty easy because I just copied and pasted the parts of the sword to line up just perfectly to the side, and then rotated that piece a little bit and resized it, then added a few accents, and we were done. Finally, it was time to build the rest of the city and terrain surrounding the sword, and I started with these cool buildings that were off to the side, which is actually just one piece from the Robot Factory Gallery, and I just resized it to make it look like a different building and put some different accents on it, and I feel like it turned out pretty good. And then I also built this bigger building off to the side, which was that exact same piece but resized to be as big as it could get, and then just putting different accents on the side as well. And then I copied and pasted these around the map to fit wherever I needed to fill in gaps. And then was building out the road, which is very simple. I made sure to have building to prop off so that it would be easier to place all the road pieces down. And I used this nice metal floor that you can find in the Art Deco galleries, and then lined up some of my ring gallery pieces on the actual grid lines. And then it was easy to just place everything down and then copy and paste it leading up to the sword. And then it was placing all of my buildings around the edges, adding some accents to those buildings, and we were done. Now, I did put a code for this in the description below, but remember guys, it's incomplete.